the Market Sniper. Yes, we're coming thick and fast at you lately, aren't we? Well, so many things are moving in our favor. It's great being a trader and an investor when you got it going in your favor. A while ago, we were talking about Palladium, and we had been so dastardly to suggest that actually you were going to fall well below $1,000. This was in and around the times that it was trading around 2,500, had been 2,800, actually traded a high of 3,400. We said you're going to fall, and you're going to fall so far that you're going to fall below the $1,000 mark. In fact, we have a structure that is going to suggest that you're going to get in the low 900s a target, and those targets are usually just run. And that Palladium market, which has an industrial element to it, but it's an incredibly rare metal, was going to always a bit of a concern for me for our bullishness on silver and gold. And we will be covering gold today, and you will hear why. The turn, what we believe could be in fact a very, very powerful turn in the Palladium market, is a major shoe to drop, because now the weakened by lack of industrial demand that had pumped previously, metals are now turning to with gold. So instead of we had gold dragging silver up reluctantly and being the star, we had, fairly moribund platinum, not doing too much, and a sinking palladium. Don't forget, on this channel, we gave you inside the platinum group metals, platinum and palladium, the platinum long and the palladium short, so that you had a very, very tight delta neutral, because they're both out of the same category of the platinum group of metals, and that performed exceedingly well, and we'll do a re-checkup on that too. But what has happened is we've finished bottoming potentially. It's a bit early to call, but we like to be early, so we take a chance. And why? Why do we like to be early, and what gives us grounds to think that this time is going to be different? We have an incredibly powerful God market gold. Gold is your God market. Whoa. He's the big boss, and he is going through 2,200 in our opinion. And that has triggered and gone exceedingly well. So maybe for those that are first time watchers, don't forget to hit the subscribe, and always when you smash that button, we just need to flash that gold chart, which has continued to go onwards and upwards. And of course, as a wee reminder, we highlighted how you got pulled back on your first interim, and now by your second interim you had a shooting star and you had a reasonable pullback, and guess what, you're back up. So far we haven't overreacted. There can be a delayed secondary reaction that can slow us down. We've done incredibly well here, so a possible slowdown could be on the cards. It doesn't have to be. We can rip and rip and rip. It's probably overdue, a bit of ripping. But from the 2040, which would have been your last entry, we are now sitting at 2147. So you're talking about $107 that has been put on in quite short succession for gold. And as I've highlighted on bigger time frames, this is one of the strongest upside breaking moves that we've had in an extended period. And given our trust and faith on balance of probabilities, never guarantee, that we're going to go through 2208. If we started to see that turn after making all our bear targets low on Palladium, and we started to see that turn, it would imply that this gold move is dragging the entire precious metals group up with it, and the bottom could indeed be in for one of the rarest metals out there. So it's time for us to take a look at that Palladium chart. Here we go. We'll start with the macro and clean our face. So for those that don't understand our methodology, this will invariably not appear to be a head and shoulders to them. But for HVF method trained reversal experts, because we continuation, we fear reversal traders. So, as continuation traders, we always, is it going to keep going up? We notice when things start to throw habits that are a little bit reversal orientated, and we've inadvertently become pretty good reversal trader spotters. So in lieu of this is how we frame this is a very complex head. In other words, there was a lot of volatility, in case you hadn't noticed. Another key point for why there could have been potential reversal on the cards. The volatility was getting a little bit too jiggy. And there you go. We would put that down as a head, and we would call that our armpit 1 and 2 right there. And then we had the left shoulder over there, and we had a weaker right shoulder. Now, to most people, they would never look at that and say it's a head and shoulder. It's one of the hardest things to break down. But we saw that, we drew it, and we called the reversals. We gave this, and of course, we were giving you the long platinum, short palladium, the most bearish of any precious metal for us over the last 2.5 years has been palladium during these periods over here. And once we let go of the 1805, we said, you will get, and our most bearish target was 919 to the downside. Let's take that fibbo off. And we traded this all the way. You can see lots of little work and analysis, different funnels, etc. Broadening structure on the way down, which implied downside continuation. We expect the red line to be broken. That is a megaphone on a bear pole. Boom, 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 bush. More broadening structures at legacy potential downside targets, lots of churn and pushback at that period. In between them, a real spill, and then a bounce when you run another one, a bounce all the way up to the previous one, and then a final capitulation down here, which ran our lowest target, 919. Yes, that's right. We called that target to the downside. Dates if you want some of the history on that. We have been bearish this guy. And let's go back to that main chart. However, something might be happening. I'm going to take you right down to lower time frames and start suggesting that for one, we may in fact have a little bit of a reversal structure occurring. And that goes something like this. We also have our favorite setup and pattern, which I'll be showing you on the lower time frame, which is the HVF structure. 990, where's the 1,000 mark? Ooh, 997. I think these are just a tiny bit too low. 997, a 997, and a 998. So I would go 995 right here and zip it across. And that would be in our usual turquoise. I think it qualifies as turquoise, Turkish turquoise, as 995. Let's put it in there as a neckline, which is part and parcel of a potential reversal. Don't forget, after making our downside targets, especially with that scale of targets, 3,400, 918. How many people are telling you at 3.4 when it's still in the 2000s and later in the 1600s it's going sub a grand in that environment, in the precious markets where everyone has been overtly bullish, including us for gold, but unfortunately palladium wasn't getting much of that love, so gold was making new highs. So in actual fact, this is indeed potentially a triggering event on a inverted head and shoulders. And we will also telling you how, had you been, and we were just updating the community on the progress that occurred literally today. We caught the early little twinkles of this, and it's moved substantially today. It's been a ridiculous rip. And this is part of the gift of what I was mentioning. Be careful, fairly thin markets. They are fairly thin, but when they run and you're well positioned, they then charge really, really hard. And this is what, in essence, that you're seeing over here. So if we just go and pull this through a little bit, we could have even dropped it maybe to the 4 hour and bring it through. You can see how well it's done today. A little bit of pushback on the close. People don't like it when things go up too fast. You have an idea of who I might be referring to. They don't always like it. Let's make sure what we're on. I'm going to just take that out. And do it again. So I think this is a great reversal, but there was more that happened, and we had a real structural setup on the lower time frame, which I've already drawn for you. So overall, this looks like it could go to 1140. By the way, you're at about 940 earlier on in the week. So that gives you an idea of the potential of palladium and how quick it can move. And remember, if this is what we are suggesting it might be, a potential secular turn, this guy's got big time catch up, because he's had an absolute blow off to the upside, and then he's had one of the worst dumps all the way to the downside. And let me tell you, this isn't a metal that you just dig up. It is far more rare than gold. And the platinum group metals are exceedingly unique and hard to find. And the places they are found, one of them, the biggest supplier, doesn't have any power to give their mines right now. Yes, put your hands up, South Africa. Hooray, well done, that's proper. So yeah, there's quite a lot potentially that could turn very interesting on the fundamentals of the supply and demand side of various things. Also, we've had a little bit of a pushback on the hybrids and everybody pivoting hybrids. Who knows? Good old diesel 4x4s might become fashionable again. Good old grease burners. Anyway, this is how it looked. You can see how you bounced twice on this target in the shoulders. It's absolutely beautiful, this. So that's your left shoulder, armpitting out there with a 1. And then you're getting that, boom. And this serves as your right shoulder right here. A little bit of a broadening structure in there, tapping out on the highs and then selling off and then kissing again that target. Hey, freaky number 919.46. Everybody thinks that's so random. Doesn't matter. Isn't it funny how it served as localized support for 2 interactions on the left shoulder and interaction on the right shoulder? Just run, bounced, and then you came back up. There you go. So 1140, then you might rest, but there's more to come out of that. Don't forget, gold will be getting to 2,208, I think it is, that we're expecting before it has a wee rest. But we're also talking on the macro time 2.9, and then on an even bigger macro time well beyond that, when things get disorderly and things move really fast. Currencies are not your friend, my friends. The proliferation scam is in full pace right now. So there's that. Then if we drop the time frame, we're now down to the M30. You will have seen that there was this particular little setup, and that is your right shoulder there. In fact, is your armpit 1, and this set up rather nicely, and this was the forerunner. Beautiful little bit of funneling and squeezing, but tipping its hat to the high side in all of that right there. Oh, and you did the following on the small. We're on 30 minutes now, guys. This is small time frame charting. This is small time frame charting, and it still holds relevance. See, little feign up and break back in, then run to that first interim, come all the way back home, wee little pig all the way home. You know that one? Do you remember that one? Did your parents do that one with you? I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they don't. Maybe it's bizarre. I don't know. Second interim run, surge, target run, pop, pullback time, first meaningful pullback in a blow off after running that short time frame as part of the beginning of a move up. Don't forget, it's triggered now at the break here. If you were trading just the inverted head and shoulders, you'd be getting long at 995. You could have got long in the region on the just-in-time entry. You see it right there. You could have 958. You could have got in at 958. Boy, what a move. And it's a great day. It's just been another great day. So we got, Bitcoin has a rest, gold is moving and continuing up, and Palladium starts what could be a secular bottom move to the high side with the effect that we're expecting on gold. I think it's disproportionately not being considered as a secular bottom after running our target at 919, which was very, very close to the absolute low, just crept into the upper 800s and 90s. So that is almost a bottom call at 919. And you're sitting here watching it break out to the upside and making how many dollars? 956. It traded over 950 today, I believe. Let's see, 952, 960. What's the high on that? The high on that is 1064. So you got over $100 in this triggering event and literally ripped to target. First setups in new trends, also confirming the inverted head and shoulders. Overperformance is expected. It's normally expected to be the beginning of a new trend. Our theory dovetails with the fact that we've also got an inverted head and shoulders, which is also associated with secular turns. secular turns on a higher time frame than this. Of course, this is right, fairly low time frame technical analysis, and everything's still working because HVF method is awesome. You can learn how to do it and click on the first link below. And for those that think, oh, I watch your YouTubes, I've reverse engineered it, I'm super smart. Of course you're meant to learn something, and you should, and you will, but there's so much more. There's so much more, and the understanding thereof is only practiced in a logical environment. I don't watch and learn karate from watching videos. But anyway, nonetheless, people will conclude what they will conclude. We'll be delighted to have those that are motivated. But that could be a seminal moment. We owe it to ourselves, and I'm doing this now ad hoc. I haven't actually checked, to have a little look at what the platinum market has done as well. So I'm going to just off the cuff straight away run in platinum. I didn't check it before this, and I should have, because I would imagine platinum is livening up a little bit too. I have a feeling that this is more like a groundswell of movement. You've got to remember, gold has gone up while palladium was absolutely crashing. So you've had this fragmented category of precious metals because of the industrial element versus the monetized element. At the moment, we know there's a monetized crisis. Central banks know what to buy when there's a monetized crisis. It's driven most things into gold. We talk about the God market moving first technically, and fundamentally it makes sense. Everybody understands gold. There's enough of it around for people to understand. It's not so scarce that nobody has it in any meaningful level, like the palladium groups might be. But as the industrial demand was weak on the others, you had this inverse relationship. But the costs of mining, but fetching it, but scarcity, rarity, really hard, huge amounts of energy to get there and get to it, sees in actual fact we're now seeing a groundswell change. This is because more and more people are understanding that fiat is turning. I have to say, actually, the platinum turn so far on a similar time frame is reasonable, but not as spectacular as palladium. I think palladium is one of the thinnest markets, but then we were looking at the 30-minute time. It looks more spectacular when you're in the 30 minutes. We did also have it on the 8-hour. So it could be a little bit of a turn and a livening up, but it's been more, it's probably one of the less significant moves. I'm curious to divide the two because I think palladium will have done a better day recently. And just to highlight how that particular trade did go, because one of the key YouTubes we did in this space was based on the difference in performance relative to them. And we said buy platinum and sell palladium. And that's how you've done on the two since this point. That was the entry point on a falling wedge. This has been a great trade. That doesn't mean it's been without some moments of volatility. Again, a broaden there, a little slap in the face there, and a little slap right now with this extreme performance on palladium. Now, I wouldn't short any precious metals at all now. I would just stay with the platinum long, and I would flip, we've already long palladium on the last few days price behavior and the setups I'm busy describing. So that leg that you once had, you closed at the 919 and you're now in a situation where we're now calling a reversal. There's a difference, by the way, between making a downside target and closing a short. There is that credibility gap before you get a long. It isn't a binary situation. Now this is recently, in terms of what we're recounting to you and the patterns we're showing you, this has gone from close a short some time ago when the 919 was run on palladium. I'll give you the date on that now. Go back up to the bigger time frames and we can highlight to you that that was some time ago that this target was made. And you close it at the first instance, which is that wick right there. So it was middle of Jan. You did press on a little bit and that gave the low, but you should have shut at the target. So 919 was it? 919.46 would have been closed on that dot there. And you only traded a small amount. This period since the mid-Jan to today, which is now 6 days, almost a week into March, still 6 weeks of close of short, basing period, bottoming out, setting up reversal pattern, and then smaller pattern on a lower time frame. This, my friends, is how you multiply your way to wealth. I've got to go back and just illustrate this. And I don't know how many times we actually do this. There's your gold setup. I think you're going to get a bit of a bigger rest now after the second interim. I think you could pull back, by the way, for Goldie friends. Many of you are here because the precious metals and gold could come back a bit and take a bit of time to wind up before you go again. No saying how much back. I'm staying net long. I'm not concerned. Many people that just follow news lines could have bought at these levels and entered in and around these levels just at an interim level too. And we just save you from doing that and saying, hold on a bit and you'll buy one. You may get that opportunity to buy in cheaper. You're not going to sit with opportunity cost or people leverage trading where there's daily margin costs, etc., and then go sideways and down. You've got to get those things right. These little compounding things make a massive difference. But going back to the Palladium chart and clearing our face a little bit there, the key thing is when you get the target of the bigger pattern, and in fact, I think you're going to make new all-time highs in due course, but that's not going to happen in a day, a week, or a month. But I think you're going to be back at 2000s, 2500s. That's going to take a few months. It won't be straight line up, and there could, of course, be a demand-destroying event like halfway through the gold bull last time, which was the events of March 2020, a bit of a dip and a rally. All of these things could still happen, so there'll be a journey. But the end of this year and going to the end of the following year, Palladium is a lot higher in my worldview because it's scarce, it's hard to find. The places that are producing it are BRICS nations as well, which tends to be a bit of a problem. And of course, the dollar and fiat currencies are negative. So we often talk about the way that you multiply your way to wealth using HVF method, which is why we look at bigger time frame pattern structures with smaller ones within it. You see, when you utilize a tiny bit of conservative leverage, you really need to know where you accept you're wrong, and you need to have a stop loss for that. In this event, this particular structure that I've already shown you on the 30-minuter, which is the upside target, it had a 1044 target. But because of the nature of it triggering the other pattern, being a subset of the right shoulder to the larger structured pattern, what you end up getting is you get a break and entry into the one pattern by virtue of a smaller one. That's the structure and target of the one pattern. But this triggering event on the blue line at the 995 makes the new larger pattern live, and you multiply your way to wealth by playing for the bigger structured target on the basis that the smaller patterns break has helped create the smaller domino, is not the medium-sized domino that eventually gets you to topple a large domino over with big reward. And overall, you're looking at a 26.4 risk reward with a stop over there. Now that was a super tight funnel. I might have played it safe and just put it there in case we had some skittishness, but very soon after this break started, you could be at that point. With the very tight funnels, a very low price range, I sometimes do that. But if gold is getting a good start and it's started to look its way up and you've already got two good impulses inside another structure that is saying we are live and triggered once you do the 995. And of course, there's a key brown begging to be discussed, 1000 key level of significance that the neckline was just below. So momentum through that takes you through the key number, and you just spat through that with great aplomb. Legacy targets being made. There's that second interim being, it's not the second, it's the main target of this move being met. So you have a pullback now, but actually the smart hands will utilize the Palladium pullback to secure the next move up through here. And it won't be over even if and when it does this on balance of probabilities, no guarantees, in our opinion. And you will see numbers with 2s and potentially 3s coming back again, but you'll have to wait a lot longer for that. Okay, multiply your way to wealth. Do you want to be part of a community that is focused on these kind of trades? We're having a great time. We've been long Bitcoin. We stepped aside for its pullback. We've been long on the leverage side. We're still investment long. We've been long Gold, by the way, the shares, individual miner shares, are also doing an awakening, and it will be worth to even at some point to look maybe at the individual equities. Why not leave a comment right now for the best equity that you like? Please, no micro caps, something that everyone can get in, that at least you can move, 6-digit sum in and out relatively easy, and also smaller amounts, sure, but at least up to that. On your interest of gold, silver, and platinum and palladium miners. Have they turned? Which one do you think's got the best upside? Have you been looking? Well, the miners will turn now that the God market is turning, and now that the broad portfolio of precious metals could potentially be turning. We need to see a bit more out of platinum, I would think. We need to see that we don't gestate too long after doing the 1139 if we do that level up top here. But it looks very, very positive. And this is very endorsing for the precious metals bull market. It's no longer just about gold dragging silver along heavily and reluctantly as that gold-silver ratio inches up higher. Now we're getting movement out of other precious metals, and they are secular, really hard sell-off reversals that could turn equally violently to the upside. Catch you next time. Hope you enjoyed the update. Don't forget, we love your likes and shares. Hit always so that you don't miss a video. Till next time, I'll catch you then. Bye for now.